My feelings about Mario Kart World summarized in 4 statements or less. Tracks, great. Music, great. Characters, mid. Fucking rubber banding! Mario Kart World is the newest entry in the Mario Kart series and the launch title for the Switch 2, so let's talk about it. Out of all the games in the series, it has the absolute largest roster of characters, not including Tor, and I mean, my god, are these some interesting picks. Now you've got your classics, your Marios, your Luigis, and your Princess Peaches, and you've also got Conqueror. Yeah, there's a lot of very interesting characters in this game. They increased the roster like tenfold from 8 Deluxe, and it's not necessarily for the better. A lot of fan favorite characters like Funky Kong, Diddy Kong, actually any of the Kongs apart from Donkey Kong, and all the Koopalings have been completely axed from this game. So while yes, this is the largest roster we've seen in a mainline Mario Kart ever, it's not necessarily the best roster ever. A lot of characters, again, they just aren't there that people would want to be there. And characters like Dry Bones are for no reason considered side characters, despite the fact that Shy Guy is also a side character and has been in Mario Kart for less time than Dry Bones, but he is considered as a main character. The game itself is based around the idea of Mario Kart being in an open world. Like how all games have been open-worldified by Nintendo recently, games like Zelda and Mario have gotten this treatment, and now it's come to Mario Kart. Mario Kart being open-worldified is something that I'm not too sure exactly how I feel about it. I mean, the open-world aspect is pretty cool and all for it. I mean, I like the Grand Prix, and the knockout tours can be fun, but free roam is just... what is there to do? I've been driving around for 8 hours now! The open world aspect of Mario Kart World, despite being its main feature, is, I mean, it's not like the most used feature ever. It's there, but free roam kind of feels like more like a side mode than anything else. The reason they say it feels like a side mode is because of all the other content in the game and the fact that, well, you can kind of play the entire game without playing free roam, and you're not really missing out on much. Free roam is really just driving around the map, doing some P-switch missions, flipping some other question mark switch things, and collecting medallions, and well, that can be fun and all. I feel like Mario Kart isn't really the place for a collectathon game. That goes more for normal Mario or hell even Zelda games, not really Mario Kart. This is a game that really should be strictly racing, but it's just a feature and you'd guess you don't have to use it, so it's not the worst thing ever. The Grand Prix in this game have been shaken up a little bit. Like a lot of the other racing in this game, the racing aspects aren't like normal 3-lap races, oh no. In Mario Kart World, all the racing is almost entirely driving between other tracks. The entire game is basically just having a track, driving to the next track, and then doing like 1 lap on that track, and doing that for the other 2 tracks in the series as well. In fact, in Grand Prix, the only track you actually do a full 3 laps on is the first one. The other ones after that, you never actually get full 3 laps on them, which is really weird. I saw a post online recently actually about a guy who described it as, well, you know, you go through the tracks and it kind of feels like by the time you got into that last track, you're just about getting to the good part and then it ends. And I'd say that describes it pretty well. Because you're only getting 1 real lap on the other tracks, it just doesn't feel like you're actually doing much. It feels like the game's just getting good and then, oh wait, the race has ended. The tracks themselves though aren't bad, and you can still play in versus mode, and that allows you to choose tracks and do 3 laps on them. Same with time trials, it also forces you to do 3 laps on them as well. The general gameplay of the game is like any other Mario Kart game. Your items are all pretty much the same, mushrooms, shells, and bananas galore, but there's a few new ones. Kamek, for example. He used to be a character, now he's an item. That is just incredibly depressing, to be honest. Kamek, while he used to be an actual playable character, has now been turned into the Kamek Orb, which is an item you can use. Or if you press it, it'll send Kamek out and he'll turn everyone in front of you into a random character. Oh boy, Kamek's gone. I wonder what they're gonna turn it into. Oh my god! It's Jeffrey Epstein! These characters are generally just the NPC characters, like the enemy characters in Mario games. Any of them is what you'll get turned into. And, you know, this is alright, I guess, but it doesn't really do much. He'll sometimes put obstacles in the way, but you can also run into those obstacles, so it's not actually the most useful of items. The second new item is kind of a half, almost sort of new item, which is the feather. And I say kind of, almost sort of half new item, because it was number 1 in Super Mario Kart originally, and it was in the Grand Prix there. And second of all, it was also in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but it was exclusive to Battle Mode. But the feather exists, and it does what it's always done. It gives you a little jump boost over whatever obstacle you want to go over. It really isn't that useful, and honestly more annoying, especially when you can get you in first place. Yeah, you can get the feather in first place, and then you just kind of have to deal with that unless you get rid of it, which can be annoying because then you jump over the item boxes and it can't be used to dodge anything, so it really can be quite a nuisance sometimes. There's also the coin block. The coin block is, well, a block that spams out coins. You use it and you can hit it up to like 10 something times and it'll give you a coin each time you hit it. The only problem is it'll also spew out coins for other people to collect, so it doesn't really help just you, it helps everyone else as well. There's also the golden shell. The golden shell is like a blue shell in the fact that it follows the exact same path of it, except the only difference is that it doesn't go for first place, it just goes straight ahead, it'll hit anyone in its way, and also it spams coins out. It's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. It's the golden shell. Puts out coins. Pretty simple. There's the hammer, which is an offensive item you can use. And you can throw that out in any direction you want, in front of you or behind you. It'll throw out a line of hammers. This is actually quite good. It's decently easy to hit people with, and it can be useful sometimes, though it doesn't hit people who are directly in front of you. They have to have a little bit of distance from you for it to be able to hit. But it still can be useful in a pinch. Then there's the ice flower, which is basically just the fire flower, but ice. I don't think there's actually that much of a difference between it. I mean, it gives them the ice effect for a little bit, so I guess there's that, but apart from that, it's pretty much just a fire flower retextured. Another item that's kind of new, but not really, is the Mega Mushroom. It's new in the fact that it's been brought back, but it was originally in Mario Kart Wii, and it acts pretty much identically to Mario Kart Wii. The only difference being that, like something like a bullet bill, it stays in your item slot when it's being used, so you can't actually pick up another double item if you're using it, you only pick up another single. It also doesn't have the music that it had in Wii, which to me is a bit disappointing. I was kind of wanting the music to be there, but it's not the worst thing ever. Then there's another kind of item that's completely brand new, and that's the food bag. The food bag is these little things you can find at these little Yoshi restaurants, and you pick it up and you eat it, it gives you a little speed boost. And if you're a non-NPC character, it'll give you a nice costume as well if you don't have that costume already. Well, still give you it, but you'll already have had it. The costumes in the game are counted as separate characters for some reason, and they fill up a lot of character slots, which I kind of think looks messy. I would much prefer to have the drop-down menus like they had for characters in 8 for different costumes. This is kind of tacky, to be honest. All the items are actually decently good. There's only 2 that I really dislike, that being the coin block and the feather, and that's just because the coin block, it can be gotten in like 13th, where you'd much rather have like a mushroom or a shell, and well, the feather can be gotten first and it can't be used defensively. The item balancing in this game, I'd give like a 6 out of 10. It's alright, I guess. This is not the worst item balancing I've ever seen, but it's definitely nowhere near the best. While Mario Kart 8's item system was definitely broken and allowed for things like bagging, this one isn't really that good either. I mean, I'd say it's a bit of a downgrade from 8 Deluxe, personally. One thing I do want to pick up on, though, is that there is a lot of blue shells in this game. Like, seriously. You're almost guaranteed to have at least 2 blue shells per race. At minimum, honestly. And I'm not too sure how I feel about it. As a guy who came from Mario Kart Wii, I'm used to tons of blue shells being spammed everywhere, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that I really like it. The blue shells can get a bit annoying at times, especially considering that, well, the super horn is really rare and first, and sometimes you get the feather, so you can't even use some sort of item to throw it back at people to try and stop them while you're getting stopped by the blue shell, so it can be really, really annoying. One thing I will say is that in the game there's a new little reversing feature. You press down on the D-pad, and that'll allow you to reverse backwards to retry a little move or whatever. This is going to be used in single player, not in online or multiplayer, but it is there. It's not the most useful thing. I guess if you're practicing shortcuts, it can be good. But there is one thing that is incredibly useful for, which is in single players exclusively. It can be used to dodge a blue shell. Yep. If you time it just right, you can press on the D-pad and you can dodge a blue shell just like that, no items. It does send you back a little bit and some people might pass you, but it is still faster than getting hit by the blue shell. Now, as I've mentioned already, the tracks in this game are a bit in terms of their lap count, but that doesn't mean the tracks themselves are bad. No. I'm complaining about the lap count because honestly, I really like a lot of these tracks and I want to play more of them. There's really good tracks in here. Fan favorites like Toad's Factory or Airship Fortress have made their way back into the game, and I think that's really nice. The track selection has gone back down to only 32 tracks, and considering how many remixes of old tracks are in the game, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of DLC adding more tracks in the future. I mean, come on, 8 Deluxe has 96 tracks with DLC. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't at least do 48 with this one. You know, 32 tracks is not the worst thing ever. It could have been less, but at the same time, I definitely wish it was more. The Rainbow Road of this game is absolutely stunning. One of the best the series has ever seen. I would say personally, it's not quite grown on me yet, but definitely in the top 3. I'd say my 3rd favorite Rainbow Road, just behind Sevens and Wii's. It is an absolutely phenomenal track with some of the best music for any Rainbow Road in the series, and I'm actually pretty sure it also has the longest track out of any Rainbow Road. I don't think any of the other ones are longer than it, apart from maybe the original one on 64, but even then it still takes at least 4 minutes to complete in time trials. There's also a lot of new tracks which are honestly really good. Starview Peak I actually really like. It's just a really nice cozy track, and despite the fact that it's in an Iceland, it's still kind of cozy with its nice little almost Comet Observatory from Galaxies type of little interior building that you drive through. It's really, really nice. Tracks like the Great Question Mark Ruins also have some really good opportunities for really insane shortcuts. If you've seen any of the speedrunning community for this game, I mean, this game's got insane movement, and that's a good thing. A lot of the tracks take good advantage of a lot of the really insane movement in this game. The grind rails are something that's brand new that allows you to kind of drift in a different way. You hop on the grind rail, and if you wait long enough, you get a little drift boost like you'd get from just normal drifting. And they can be used to take some pretty tight turns and get a little boost as well. I like them. They're nice and fun to use. Wall riding is another thing that was added into this game, where you can drive on the wall for a short period of time and you can get boost from that as well. You can also drift in a straight line by just driving straight on and then holding the drift button. If you do that, your cart will bounce up, go back down, and then if you wait long enough while holding the drift button, you'll get a drift boost. I found personally, I'm pretty sure that just actually normal snaking, however, is a little bit faster than just spamming the drift boost. I managed to get off a lot more boosts from just snaking than spamming the drift boost button, but maybe that's just me. Drifting got absolutely nerfed to hell though, so it's not even that good to be honest. Drifting, well, it's better to get around corners, better than nothing. It's nowhere near what it was like in 8. It got completely nerfed. I mean, drifting has been one of the staples of getting forward and faster than your opponents in the series ever since DS, so the fact that it's kind of been nerfed to hell, I'm not too sure how I feel about it. I mean, it's alright, but, you know, I still kind of wish it was a little bit stronger than it is. Draft boosting is a lot better, where you get behind a cart and then you wait for a bit and you can get a draft boost, and that's, you know, been a thing in the game for a while now, and it's a really powerful technique in this game, especially considering in the game there's a whole 24 players per race now, so they can get really chaotic and there's a lot of players to get draft boosts off of. You'll know if you've ever been playing this game and you've played in this normal single player mode that the CPUs get draft boosts off each other all the time. It's insane. Mario Kart World has a lot of really cool tech in it, so I'm really glad for that, but you know, some of it is just a bit underpowered. The drifting, I just wish it was a bit better than what it currently is. I mean, it's not the worst thing ever, but it definitely could be improved. One thing as well that I just want to mention is the fact of the karts. The karts, ever since 7, have been completely customizable with the wheel, the body, and the glider, but that's been removed in this game. They've gone back to how it was back in the Mario Kart Wii and before days, where you just chose a kart and went. And so there's now just pre-built karts you can pick from. There is anything from karts, ATVs, and bikes, and by the way, this game has finally and fully killed off Inside Drift for bikes. I was actually really wanting Inside Drift to kind of make a bit of a comeback for bikes and make it actually somewhat decent, but Inside Drift seems to be completely missing from the game at all. All bikes seem to be outside drifting bikes, so if you were an inside drift kind of guy, well, this game probably isn't for you because of that. Well, that's a lot about Mario Kart World that I've just said, but there is one thing we gotta talk about. Time for an intermission. Hi, my name is Exic. Well, I'll be your intermission host for today. Now, maybe this microphone I'm using isn't actually a microphone and is actually just a GBASP, but, well, you don't get to judge me because you're not the one making the video, I am. So today, we're gonna have a little pop quiz of sorts, and we're gonna guess things about Mario Kart World. Alright, let's go. First question. What has caused me the most amount of times to lose Knockout Tour in Mario Kart World? Is it A, being hit by 20 blue shells, 20 red shells, and 20 green shells? B, the AIs, for whatever reason, randomly speeding up for absolutely zero reason whatsoever and killing me instantly? Or C, my Switch died? If you guessed B, you'd be right. The AIs in this game do something that I like to call rocketing. Now, let's go on to question 2. Question 2. What do you think I mean by rocketing? A, the AIs will speed up for absolutely no reason, going way past your top speed so you can't even catch up to them. B, the AIs will turn into rockets and launch off to the moon. Or C, I'm suicidal. Or C, the AIs will just slow down. If you guessed A, you'd be right. For whatever reason, if you play really well in Mario Kart World, what the AIs will do is, well, they will just go way past your top speed, rubber band all the way up to you, and then they will just go past you. And you cannot catch up to them because they are literally going faster than you physically can go. I thought rubber banding in Mario Kart 64 was bad, and honestly, I owe the game an apology. I still think it's a horrible game, but God, its rubber banding is nowhere near as bad as this. Final question. How much do I hate the AIs for doing this? A, I only slightly dislike them. B, I want them to burn in a house fire. Or C, I am literally Am from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. If you guess C, you'd be right, cause I hate! Knockout Tour is, an interesting mode. Knockout Tour is basically a mode that Mario Kart Wii modders have had for ages that they've only just decided to add to an actual Mario Kart game officially. Knockout Tour is kind of like Grand Prix where you're going from track to track, but there's 6 races in it, and it's all intermission, and additionally, well, you gotta make it into a certain placement. Basically, Knockout Tour, there's these bunch of gates, and you gotta get through the gate within a certain placement in the race. If you're below that placement, you'll get knocked out, hence the name. Knockout Tour, you know, you go through, it's like you have one gate and then you gotta be at least in the top 20, then the next gate you gotta be in the top 16, the next one top 12, next one top 8, then top 4, and then you just gotta try and win. It's pretty simple, it's just removing racers over time depending on where they've placed, and you know, it's quite fun. 3-starring this is absolute hell. I've 3-starred every single cup in Mario Kart Wii, and I can confirm Knockout Tour in Mario Kart World is 1,000 times more difficult. The AIs in Mario Kart World, as I've already said, have hellish rubber banding, and honestly, it just makes Knockout Tour an absolute pain to go through. I really don't like it. Playing it online or playing it when the CPUs aren't being absolute dicks to you, it can actually be really, really entertaining. It's absolutely a thrill to go through. I love playing through it. But trying to 3-star it, my God, is it annoying. Same with Grand Prix, but to a lesser extent because the AIs, because there's only 4 races, don't have as much time to attack you. And because there's little intermission periods that aren't just racing, there is a little bit of time for the AIs to, you know, back off from you and you can get a little bit of a lead each time. Whether in Knockout Tour, because you're having to constantly race and race and race and there's not really any stopping, well, it can be a lot more difficult to get first on every gate. Knockout Tour is really fun. 3-starring it really isn't. And I just really wish they'd add some sort of balance patch to fix this, to be honest. It's just absolute hell. Genuinely, as a guy that has played every single Mario Kart, I will say right now, 3-starring knockout tour, I would say, is the second most difficult thing in any Mario Kart game ever. No, seriously, second most difficult. It only comes second to 3-starring cups and Super Circuit, because God, I'm not even going to compare those two. But 3-starring knockout is an absolute brute of a pain to go through, and honestly, I just hate it. So if you're wanting to 100% the game, have fun with Knockout Tour, but in general, I'd say the game is pretty good. I guess what I'd say about the game is, as a Mario Kart, it's a really good Mario Kart. It's really nice. I said when I originally saw the trailer, the physics looked incredibly floaty and almost Double Dash-like, and I would say that was pretty true. The physics of the game are a lot floatier than 8, where 8 feels a lot more weighted. These karts feel a lot lighter and a lot bouncier, which I do actually kind of like. The movement in the game is really weird when you've been playing 8 for the past, well, 14-something years. However, once you get used to it, the movement in this game is an absolute blast. I love the movement in this game. It's amazing. It's just a bit lackluster when it comes to the CPUs, and, well, the character selection, yeah, it's not the best. The intermission tracks, I wish weren't really that big of a thing. I wish it was more just 3-lap races, specifically for online. I don't know why intermission tracks are a thing even online. It should just be 3-lap races. And yeah, it can get really annoying. And yeah, pretty much that's my complaints about the game. The game is nowhere near perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect Mario Kart. But to be honest, it's a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. I am really happy with Mario Kart World. It's a really good game. It definitely has its flaws, but it's not the worst Mario Kart at all. If I had to give it some sort of rank out of 10, I'd say, 7, maybe a 7.5 out of 10. Maybe drop it down to a 6.5 actually, now I think about it. The game definitely has its issues, but once you've worked your way around those, it's not the worst thing ever. It's actually pretty fun and entertaining. The movement in the game is really good, but it can be a bit gimmicky at times, and the CPUs are absolute pains in the asses a lot of the time, but if you can get past that, it's a really, really good game. I mean, this is a new Mario Kart. Of course it's gonna be something exciting, but I'm happy with how it's come out. So I guess that just leaves us on the final verdict. So, final verdict? We lost Funky Kong, Dixie Kong, and Diddy Kong for Conk Door.